Pac right here, a couple other right here. I'm like, what's up, Pac? And they do me like this. Grab me a knife and a fork, put the blanket over my nose right here.
Snoop Dogg might have been a little jealous the attention that Suge was giving Tupac. Because at the beginning, Snoop was getting that.
Now, since he's not around, everybody claims that they was great friends. Everybody to a show. Some artists knew him, but like Pac and Snoop hated
Pac, and Pac got a whole different face. His face looked like that picture, that look. He had that look on his face.
So apparently Snoop Dogg's name is getting dragged in the Tupac trial, and now a lot of industry people are coming forward with stories about how Snoop was insanely jealous of Pac. And one of these people is Method Man, who apparently always had a bad feeling about Snoop ever since Snoop started shading Eminem. But is this just about Snoop being jealous and petty, or could this point to him having a bigger role in Tupac's downfall? Let's talk about it.
Book, you said that none of the artists on Death Row came to visit Tupac while he was in the hospital.
None of them. And it makes me sick to hear them say that, oh, they were there.
So I go in the room with him, and he laid up, and I just get right on the side of his head and just start talking to him in his ear.
All right, first let's talk about Method Man and his comments on Snoop. We all know Method has always been a straight shooter. He speaks his mind and doesn't sugarcoat nothing. So when the whole Snoop versus Eminem tension recently went public, Method went on Math Hoffa's podcast, and if you read between the lines, he basically exposed Snoop's whole personality. First, Method said Eminem was hurt after Snoop excluded him from his top 10 rappers list and said he could live without his music. But the timing of this comment was very interesting because it came right after M dropped Kill Shot, which has that bar about Diddy supposedly ordering Pac's. So right after Kill Shot drops, Snoop decides to shade Eminem and say he isn't even in his top 10 list of rappers.
He has probably put Eminem in a position where he could be labeled as one of the top 10 rappers ever. I don't think so, but the game feels like he's top 10 lyricists and all that comes with it, but that's just because he's with Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre helped him find the best Eminem that he could find.
Now, maybe the timing was a coincidence, but at the same time, we all know Snoop was close with Diddy, and he refused to publicly condemn him even after all those disturbing allegations surfaced. In fact, as soon as Pac was gone, Snoop publicly declared his loyalty to Diddy. Snoop even went on the Steve Harvey show with Diddy just months after Pac was to talk about squashing the beef.
You know, I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence. Now, whether y'all like it or not, y'all role models, and your music affect a lot of people, and you need to start considering yourself examples to these young people. If either one of you wants to use Steve Hightower's music and sample it, then I want to see a little East Coast, West Coast love up in here.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my peoples.
For real, that's what we came here for. We came in to light it up and ride it up. We make music.
And that's why Method Man said the whole thing with Snoop dissing Eminem right after M brought up Diddy's alleged role in Pac's felt weird. Method even threw some subtle shade at Snoop, saying he's not even a rapper anymore. He's a superstar, and everything he does is for his own image. Now, Method never went any further than that, but now that Snoop's name is being brought up in connection to the Tupac trial, some sources close to Method are saying he always felt some type of what about Snoop, like he couldn't fully trust him. And apparently Tupac felt the same way. He just realized it too late. Now, a lot of you probably know that there's this narrative about Snoop being jealous of Tupac. So what happened is that just 2 months after Tupac's death, Snoop did an interview where he said he had no issues with Biggie or Diddy, despite them having a very public feud with Death Row at the time. And keep in mind that this wasn't just any regular feud. Pac was convinced that Diddy orchestrated the 1994 Quad Studio shooting, when Pac 5 times and barely made it. Pac even said this publicly, and he also blamed Biggie because he believed he knew the shoot would happen and didn't say anything. But despite all this, Snoop still went on national TV in November 1996 and said he had no issues with Puff or Biggie.
I love Biggie Smalls. He's an artist that I listen to his music. I love his work. There's no beef. It's nothing personal. I don't hate him, and I don't disrespect him, and I love what he do, you know what I'm saying? And it's just me. I'm just a smooth, peaceful individual.
What's crazy is that Snoop was literally sneak dissing Biggie that whole year. In fact, an audio recently surfaced of Snoop dissing Biggie in 1996.
Turn up the Jedi. Don't say cause I already said I be on the red eye. You're fat, you're black, you're whack, your style is toe up plushy.
Snoop was also with Tupac when he recorded Live at the House of Blues just months before he was. And then just 2 months after Pac was gunned down, Snoop does a 180 and publicly says he has no beef with anybody. But the thing is, it felt like Snoop had already started playing both sides even before Tupac was. In fact, in another interview shortly before September 1996, Snoop said he would love to work with Biggie and Bad Boy. Now, fast forward a few years later, and Snoop claimed that those comments were the main reason Pac cut ties with him. And according to Snoop, Pac was so angry with him that he actually thought he would hurt him.
Biggie Smalls, he's an artist that I listen to his music, I love his work. There's no beef, it's nothing personal. I don't hate him and I don't disrespect him and I love what he do, you know what I'm saying? And it's just me, I'm just a smooth, peaceful individual. I don't have beef with nobody right now, baby.
After the interview, we go back to the hotel. So my Uncle Rio come back up to my room. He like, man, Tupac and them is on some bullshit, man. They down there talking shit, blah, 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 blah. So my phone rings to my room. It's Moo time. Pac said, give him an ounce of 15 minutes go by, he called back. Hey, I need an ounce of weed. Just hang up. So I send the weed. So now we flying back to LA. We get to the private plane. First of all, Pac ain't said to me though. From that moment on, I walked to the back of the plane. I grabbed me a knife and a fork, get my blanket, put my blanket over my eyes, 5.5 hours like this. As soon as we land, we step off the plane. I'm like, Pac, you going to Vegas to the fight? I said, that's the last time I seen my life.
But looking back, it seems that interview was just the final straw for Tupac. It feels like at that point, he had already started side-eyeing Snoop and questioning his loyalty. Also, a lot of people who were around at the time claimed that Snoop was visibly jealous of Pac for years, and he believed Pac came in and stole his shine at death row. Napoleon talked about this recently, and when they asked him about Snoop claiming he never liked Hit 'Em Up, Napoleon said Snoop only started saying that after Tupac's death.
But he didn't, you know what I mean? He never expressed that. You know, you got videos of him on stage with Pac rapping Hit 'Em Up, and he's rapping the lyrics right along with him. You know what I mean? So it's strange now that all these things are coming out and he say he didn't like Hit 'Em Up, you know what I mean? And everybody have their opinion. Even if he didn't like Hit 'Em Up back then, no problem, he have his opinion, but that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He was expressing his love for Hit 'Em Up. He was in the studio bopping his head. He was on the stage.
And then Low MB, a member of the group OFTB, who was signed to Death Row, confirmed this. And he claimed that everyone could tell that Snoop was insanely jealous of Tupac's popularity. According to Low, Snoop just couldn't handle how Tupac was running the game and soaking up all the love everywhere he went.
Pac was slowly but surely, you could say, taking over because he the hottest thing smoking right now. Snoop is cool, but he ain't got no new record. Tupac got all new coming right. It's hitting you all upside your head right now. So he the hardest thing smoking. So now the tension is getting a little heavy between Snoop and Tupac. Something like everybody's like bickering over their little, throwing their tantrums about whatever they mad about, which all of them still pertain to everybody want to come out. But ain't nobody got no data, know when they gonna ever come out and is they gonna ever come out. So it's a lot of tension. And the only thing that's every time you turn around, they flood. That's all you hear is all the eyes on me. And it's a Tupac mania. It's beautiful because we had everything, but we still got the tension in the room because everybody wanna be blowing up. So, everybody liking it, but then again, they ain't.
Real talk, man. Do you think Snoop felt the type of way about Tupac and the success he was having?
Yeah, of course. Of course, man. You the top man. You built Death Row. And now you gotta get in line. Come on, man. How else you gonna feel?
And then there's also the whole controversy around Snoop claiming he visited Tupac in the hospital shortly before he died. Snoop publicly said this in several interviews. However, all the Death Row people who were around at the time said they never once saw Snoop at the hospital.
But we said that none of the artists on Death Row came to visit Tupac while he was in the hospital.
None of them. And it makes me sick to hear them say that, oh, they were there.
So I go in the room with him, and he laid up. And I just get right on the side of his head and just start talking to him in his ear. Just talking to him.
If Snoop's going around saying he went to the hospital and had a conversation with Pac, that is a flat out lie. Snoop and Tupac was not on great terms. Every person went to go visit Pac. It's pictures. It's footage. No matter who went, he did not talk to Pac. He didn't have a conversation with Pac.
When I went there like, what's up, man? I know he couldn't hear me, but my spirit was talking to him. What's up, my nigga? What's happening? I was talking to his spirit. I want to apologize for making you mad the other day.
We put out 2 unreleased Tupac albums. Why you don't have a verse on none of those songs. Because that's a big deal if you love the man like you say you do. You've been treating that man like an outsider. Make me a believer. I wish it's not true that your hands weren't involved with the assassination of Tupac.
Now, some fans have a different take on this, and they believe Snoop was smart for not picking sides because that was the only way to survive that whole East Coast versus West Coast war. However, others still see Snoop as a snake. And honestly, once you start analyzing everything Snoop has said and done over the years, it's clear that he's the type of man who's going to spin, say, and do whatever he has to in order to protect his image, secure the bag, his brand, and his networking. Because it's not just about this one situation with Pac. Snoop has a long track record of preaching one thing in public and then doing the opposite when the check clears. Remember that whole Trump situation? So back in 2017, Snoop publicly called out artists who were rumored to perform at Trump's inauguration, calling them all types of sellouts and Uncle Toms.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo ass gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the out one of you Uncle Tom ass for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first? I was the one that performs for himself.
Snoop was publicly hating on Trump back then, and he even made a music video where Trump's lookalike gets popped.
Now, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, huh?
But like I said, as soon as the check cleared, Snoop started singing a different tune. In January 2025, Snoop performed at Trump's inaugural Crypto Ball, an event celebrating Trump's second term.
He performed at the Crypto Ball as part of inauguration weekend for Donald J. Trump. Someone snapped a pic and put it on Twitter as well. Rick Ross also performed.
My mother say, Rose, man, you playing to win tonight, man. You sharp as mosquitoes, nigga. What's going on? That's that crypto, see? They let a real crip up in the Crypto Ball. Ooh. Bang, bang.
Snoop didn't post anything about the event on Twitter. On Instagram, he loves Instagram. He has posted 15 times today. 15 times today. Nothing about the event last night.
Snoop faced huge backlash over this and lost over 500,000 IG followers. However, he still doubled down and claimed him performing at Trump's event has nothing to do with him being a black man.
Yeah. Get your life right. Stop worrying about mine. I'm cool. I'm together. Still a black man. Still 100% black.
And this is the same dude who just a few years prior was publicly calling other black men Uncle Toms for even considering performing for Trump. So this is why this whole conversation about Snoop and Tupac is deeper than some rap beef. This is about Snoop's character and who he is as a man. But being a snake and selling out is one thing. This doesn't necessarily mean Snoop had anything to do with Tupac's assassination, or does it? Well, opinions are split on this, and many fans still believe that at the very least, Snoop had foreknowledge of the assassination plot. So here's some wild tea that Warren G spilled. And if you connect the dots, it makes you wonder. According to Warren, on September 7th, 1996, the night Tupac was shot in Vegas, Snoop was supposed to be there. Snoop was originally planning to go with Tupac to Vegas for the Mike Tyson versus Bruce Seldon fight, but Warren said Snoop decided to stay in LA at the last minute. But here's where it gets a little sus. While they were chilling at Warren's spot in LA, someone hit Snoop on his Nextel walkie-talkie to tell him Tupac was
You know, I'm just over here watching the fight. I'm gonna invite a gang of people over. We're gonna barbecue. He was like, fuck that shit. I'm going to Vegas with Tupac and them. They going out to Vegas for the fight. Couple hours went by in the house, just getting everything ready. Went to the store, started getting stuff ready. I heard a horn, bing, 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 honking in front of my house. So I looked up out the house. Excuse me, y'all. I looked out the house and Snoop was outside in a white Rolls Royce, and we just having a good time, barbecuing, having fun. And the fight was coming on. He came with me for the fight instead of going to Vegas.
So he never went to Vegas?
He never went to Vegas. He didn't go off top. So we watched the fight. We doing everything, watching the fight, having a good time. We was hanging out, you know, some females around. They was hanging out, everybody chilling and just having a good time, you know, just. And then he got just like a gang of homies, gang of homegirls, and then it's like, then he had the Nextel back then. Remember the motherfucker?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of Nextel he had, but he had the could go, that whatever it was hitting him all the way.
Now, rumor has it that everybody who was down with the hit had Nextel so they could communicate. And I'm not saying that's a fact, but that's been a rumor for literally decades. And why did Snoop even have a radio with him that night? Also, why did Snoop tell Warren he was going with Pac to Vegas, when at that point, Pac had already distanced himself from Snoop and they weren't talking? Suge Knight also questioned this after hearing what Warren G said, and he pointed out that the story didn't really add up.
So I really gotta have a real conversation with Snoop. The reason why I gotta have a conversation with him about is that I've been knowing that young dude a long time. I did everything in my power to make sure he kept his freedom.
For almost 2 years, Snoop has been out on $1 million bail paid by Death Row Records.
And I knew that Pac did everything right by him by putting him on All Eyes on Me, speaking about him and being real with him. And if it's true what they say, face to face is going to be a lot of explaining to do. Warren did a thing and he said that Snoop had a radio. He was at Snoop house when the shit happened.
I looked out the house and Snoop was outside. Then he had the Nextel back then. Remember the motherfucker? That whatever it was hitting him all the way from what was going on from Vegas. And then he started getting calls and they was telling him that Tupac got this.
Only way you have a radio if you was at the fight with us and you had a security detail. Now, not having a security detail, what are you doing with the radio?
So, no matter how you look at it, there are simply too many inconsistencies in Snoop's story, and it's like everyone has their own version of what happened that night. And here we are now in 2026, and the long overdue Tupac trial has officially begun in Las Vegas. Opening statements started on August 17th, 2026, almost 30 years after Pac was in a drive-by shooting in 1996. However, the only defendant in the trial is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, former leader of the Southside Compton Crips. Keefe D. was arrested in September 2023, and he faces 1 count of with a deadly weapon with the intent to promote a criminal gang. Prosecutors allege that Keefe was the shot caller who orchestrated the drive-by shooting, supplied the weapon, and ordered the hit in retaliation for an attack on his nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. But let's be real, no one truly believes Keefe was the mastermind. As for Snoop's alleged role in all this, we'll just have to wait and see if his name actually gets mentioned in court. However, in the court of public opinion, Snoop has already lost all credibility, it seems. One fan said, "I think Snoop knew something was going to happen and encouraged it. I think Snoop's soul is tormented by his decisions. He looks sick AF." And someone else wrote, "We've always suspected Snoop Rat of backdooring Pac. Snoop didn't like that Tupac outshone him in every way. I think Snoop set the tone by letting folks know Pac's every move." But let me know how you feel about all this. Do you think Snoop actually took part in the plot to assassinate Tupac? Did he have foreknowledge and failed to warn Pac? Or are fans reaching with this theory? Drop your comments below and stay tuned for the next one.